We are joined by our resident coach, Tim Hyde, prior to the Notre Dame North Carolina game for some final thoughts. Saturday night, the Irish will take on the Tar Heels. Coach Hyde, I know you're an offensive line guy. Finally, Notre Dame's starting five. Each player played each snap in the game. That's the first time all season. They did that against USC last weekend. So, what do you think? I mean, it seems like they're settling in.
Oh, without a doubt. It's going back to the Va Tech game. Probably even going back, I looked at really the last 10 quarters when you go to the halftime of Cincinnati, where
Yep.
they went into halftime and inserted Joe Alt at left tackle. On the second series, they benched Madden and got Kristofic. So really, Kristofic and Alt have been on the field for the last 10 quarters.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Kristofic came in right away for Zeke after the second drive on Va Tech. So you're really looking at a core five over the last 10 quarters that have been out there predominantly, 90+% of the snaps. And then going back to your point right there against SC, they're on the field each and every snap, which Notre Dame has not done since last season,
Yeah.
which is fascinating to look at. And it paid off. You got the second straight game of playing outstanding football, back-to-back games, rushing for over 170 yards. Last two games, they've only given up, the one sack that, Jackson got. Cohen held the ball just a hair too long against the three-man rush. No tackles for losses against Virginia Tech, which is known for its, blitzing, attacking style of Va Tech. No tackles. USC only had one tackle for loss on the run in the game. So it's going back to what we talked about way back when at the beginning, and some of the early struggles they had early in the season is communication. And it's that communication where you're double teaming, you're working together, and it's a feel of when to come off, when to trust your buddy, when to trust your teammate and go to the next level. And you watch in film, and for some reason, this group of five is doing it, and it's
Yeah.
looking really good.
It's amazing to me, or interesting. Kane Madden, he's in his fifth, sixth year playing college football.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting physically kind of beaten up those first few games, and now he's settled in. What do you think it was just hesitancy and that lack of cohesion that just made him a bit slower? Because now I barely notice him on the field in a good way.
Yeah, a little of all of that is just getting used to all the guys that he's working around. And I think Coach Kelly says it when you read between the lines. What he's talking about is this group working together. Jared Patterson early on, which is so noticeable in the film, is trying to help out too much inside. It's a trust thing with the guys that you're next to. And obviously he's played back-to-back seasons with Banks and Kramer, two guys that have been next to him each and every snap for a few years. So it's that field thing. Obviously Madden coming over from the MAC into Notre Dame. It's all those things working. There's a couple of great plays, just real quick. Everyone remembers Drew Brees talking about the play duo, which is double teams. It's two double teams. You find two guys to double team and then scoop and combo off of. And Notre Dame was running that to perfection, basically. It's so many plays on Saturday night. And this group has just gotten it. I think it comes from a lot of the confidence to end Va Tech. And obviously that bye week, they got in the film study and just kept going and going and going. They got into SC week, and you could just tell, hey, you're the five, go out there and just keep playing. And I doubt they're going to rotate. There's probably no need to rotate moving forward. Let these guys grow together and win some football games and get to a New Year's Six bowl game.
Let's talk a little bit about North Carolina. Notre Dame fans should be getting ready to watch a true RPO type of offense, especially with Sam Howell, very live arm and can run it. So if you're Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, and how are you going to use your personnel? What are you going to do to try to slow down the Sam Howell to Josh Downs combination?
Yes, Coach Kelly talked about this. It's night and day compared to what they've had to do with Drake London, who's just an outside, wide side of the field, left side guy. You could double, you could do things too, and he still had 15 catches. For 170 yards. So they still got him the ball. Downs is a slot guy, so you're going to see more motions. You could stack him differently. You could do a few different things. Obviously, with him, the type of player he is. But you know what? Hey, the more you watch Marcus Freeman, the more you watch his D, the more you realize he's going to do what he does. He's going to make a couple tweaks here and there, but he's going to run his 3-3 at times. He's going to run the dime, which is actually has really, really produced a lot this year. Their third down defense, when they run the 4-1-6, as I call it, basically they got two down guys and the two stand ups. And you got a last game, by the way, they played all three backers were in the dime
Yep.
Bauer, Kaiser, and they got Bertrand in there. So they were rotating all those guys to keep those guys fresh. And you got your six DBs. So there's going to be some form of probably a bracket coverage on him, meaning your corners are going to be locked up playing man, which I think with Cam Hart, they're really, really comfortable with taking that wide side. So you're going to expect some fades, some boundary shot plays there into the short side of the field against Bracy and Lewis a lot when they're in there.
I don't. I'm not predicting a letdown or anything, but you always wonder about a big win over a rival like USC. What are you doing during the week to make sure you don't have a letdown against a team that can certainly score a lot of points and jump on you?
Sure. Number one, it's all about the next game and it's all about marching toward. Hey, this team has a lot of goals in front of it. There's no doubt about it. You could talk about the schedule, no ranked teams moving forward. It doesn't matter. They know if they're 11-1, who knows what's going to happen in front of them.
Right.
I mean, there's so many big games coming up in college football with so many teams that there's going to be some craziness. And if Notre Dame's 11-1, I mean, automatically they're going to be in a New Year's Six game, so that's going to be the biggie. But I think the quick thing with USC is the last time 2017 they played USC. The following week they played ranked North Carolina State with that great D line and that great defense they had, and they went out there and ran roughshod around those guys and blew them out by a bunch of touchdowns. So Notre Dame a couple years ago after a big SC game in 2015. The following week on Halloween weekend, they had to go beat Temple, a
Yeah.
ranked team on the road in Philly. Matt Rule, that great football team Matt Rule put together. So, Notre Dame's had some big games right after USC, and they've come through and had some nice wins for them. So I think it's a mindset. I think it's the culture. I think it's the program. I've heard you talk about it, Craig, about this is going to be a program game, a program win, and that's going back to what Brian Kelly did after 2016. We've said it. You can say it 100 more times. It's so true. This is who we are. This is Notre Dame football, and let's go out there and win these football games. And I think the guys are going to be excited. I think the biggest thing, whoever set this game up for a night game after what they just experienced last week, someone give them a raise
Mhm.
because having a night game atmosphere after that SC game is going to be lively and is going to jazz the guys up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, so North Carolina, they're 4-3, 3-3 in the ACC. Let's put the Duke game they had. They had a win a few weeks ago against Duke to the side. They've given up 39 to Virginia, 45 to Georgia Tech, 35 to Florida State, and 42 to Miami. We know how explosive they can be on offense. So my question to you, Mr. Hyde, Coach Hyde, is: do you have a prediction, and where do you see this going?
Oh yeah, I mean prediction. I go back to Notre Dame's had some big games. My big thought process early in the week is exactly what I just talked about. Is what's the feel for Notre Dame after big SC games,
Mhm.
and they've had some success. We won't talk about 2019 because they played SC and then they had a bye, and that's the train wreck at Michigan in 19. But the rest of the wins that Kelly's had at South Bend, he's had victories right after the SC games going back to over the years.
Yep.
So North Carolina's got a ton of athletes. They've been a mini USC.
Yeah.
I've been looking at SC, Va Tech, North Carolina. It's like all these guys are all together, so to speak. So I go with you. I love the quotes and the comments that you've talked about as a program. I think Notre Dame's going to be focused. I think Notre Dame knows who they are, and you kind of seen that established. The fact that they got an O line, they have a defense that's been installed, and they keep getting better at the big plays. Everyone early in the year, all we talked about was big plays. Now it's like, okay, you may get one a game, which SC got one with London. That's it.
Yep.
So I'm predicting a Notre Dame win. I'm terrible with scores and things of that nature. Notre Dame, the keys looks like it's 31. Look at all their wins this year. You get to 31, you're going to win.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Notre Dame 34, and they're going to hold Sam Howell. And Sam Howell's a good football player. how they're going to match him and take away his run and pass is going to be fun. But I'm going 34-24 Notre Dame.
There you go. I won 34-26 Notre Dame. So we definitely agree. Those predictions are going to be live on the site by the time this video airs. So no secrets there from me. Yeah, I mean, I just think North Carolina is still a year away from being a physical enough team to play and get done what they want to get done. You look at how they were a top 10 team in the preseason. Yeah, Sam Howell's awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. Josh Howell, they've got Josh Downs. They've got good athletes, but they're recruiting better, but it's still not showing up front quite yet. I think it will down the road, and I don't think it's going to show up Saturday night. So I have a Notre Dame victory as well. Coach Hyde, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you after the game on Saturday night. Hopefully, it's as quick of a game as it was against USC.
You got it. That was a great flow. Looking forward to it.
All right, bud. Later.